Good evening, everyone. Thanks for watching Rogers TV. I'm Laura Lehman. This is Daniel Mente, and you're watching Ropsaa Sports. Now, Daniel Mente, you were one of the original Ropsaa Sports hosts.
Yep.
I know you've been busy with your radio stuff. Welcome back to the desk, first of all.
Thank you. You know, it's funny because the last time I was here, I was hosting a show with another Laura. Shouts to Laura Spratt. I see you out there. But most definitely, yeah, it's been a while. You know, the walls kind of look a bit similar. New faces, but there's nothing wrong with that. I always like to see Rogers grow and develop with all their interns and all the volunteers. So it's a good thing to see. But yes, I have been busy with my radio show for the last couple of years now. It's called Cool Radio, and it airs every Thursday evening from 8 till 9 p.m. at CFREradio.com. We basically discuss the latest within hip-hop, sports, and pop culture, and I've had some of Mississauga's finest on that show just discussing whatever there is that they're up to. We even had Ali Monroe of Trending in Sports on my show, so I like to include everyone and just get them to show off their talents and what have you.
That's awesome. Well, you've certainly been busy, but we're super happy you're back on the desk with us today. Let's jump into our first segment together. This is Throwback Thursday. We're going to take a look at social media and see what you guys have been tweeting in.
All right, so first on the docket, we have our man who goes by the name of Ricardo Mills Barrett. Now, he plays defensive back for the St. Roch Ravens, and he will be signing a letter of intent, or rather, he has signed a letter of intent to play for the Carleton University in the fall. So a couple of things about Mr. Barrett. He was included in the CFC Top 100 rankings for the second consecutive year. Not only did he help the Ravens win Ropsaa, but he also led them to their first ever OFSA Bowl championship and the first team in Brampton to do so. So it's a very huge accomplishment for the young man indeed.
You know what else is an accomplishment? That sweet picture on there. He had his own football card produced for that, and that was beautiful.
Absolutely. He had to share some extra ducats for that. I'm sure he did.
And let's move on to our second one. It's another St. Roch Ravens player. Here we've got Joshua Palmer, a 6'3", 185-pound wide receiver. After 2 years of St. Roch High School, Josh headed off to Fort Lauderdale, Florida to play for St. Aquinas High School. Not only has he suited up for the two-time national champ Raiders there, he's been training in Florida with Anthony Cannon, a linebacker who played 3 seasons with the Detroit Lions and most recently played for our Toronto Argos in the 2011-2012 season. So here's something interesting, Dan, about Josh Palmer. He put together a list of 6 of his top schools that he'd like to play at, and he got offered 5 out of 6 of them.
Those are pretty good odds, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he won the Powerball this week.
Honestly, lucky dude.
Right?
Well, I think either way, he's got 2 years left in high school, so he's got tons of recruitment offers that'll be coming. He's only 15 years old.
Absolutely. The world is his oyster. So between now and the time that he actually does go to school, he has a lot of big decisions to make. But luckily for him, you know, his grades and his skill has gotten to this level where 5 of those 6 schools that he was asking for on his wish list are actually coming true, to say the least.
Which is awesome and great for the city of Brampton, too, for this Brampton native, right? Let's talk about girls hockey now. I want to see where they're at in the standings.
Absolutely.
Varsity girls hockey standings in the north. We've got the St. Marcelina Spirit undefeated, 6 wins, 0 losses in their 6 games played. They have 34 points for and only 4 against. Pretty impressive. And then a little bit behind them, we've got Mayfield, 4 wins, 2 losses. And all the way down at the bottom, Heart Lake Hurricanes need to brew up a storm and get back in the game. 69 points against, 5 points for, and no wins yet. In the south, we've got the Mustangs, Spartans, and Crusaders, all pretty close in the top there, with each of them have a few wins and only 1 loss on the boards. Let's head into boys hockey now.
Absolutely. So on the very top of the list, on the north side of things, we have St. Michael with a very impressive 10-1 record and with 20 total points to start off the season with. On top of that, we have St. Aquinas, who are just chasing them with a 5-4 record with 11 points behind. If we move down to the south side of things, we have Our Lady of Mount Carmel with a 6-2 record, and they have 14 points to start it off with. Now, St. Aloysius Gonzaga, not too far off their tail, 7-2 record, but tied with 14 points as well in their division. And if we go down Lauren Park, they're still kind of chasing, trying to get above the 500 mark. They have a 4-6 record with 9 points, so not too bad. Still a little bit of time to make up for that afterwards.
Yeah, looks like the Heart Lake boys team's not doing too bad, but girls are still at the bottom there. We'll take a look at the rest of the standings when we get back on Ropsaa Sports after this quick break.
Yeah, ready. and welcome back to ropsaa Sports. Now, Laura, since it is Friday, I figure we go to a flashback Friday moment, if you will. A couple years ago when I was here hosting the show alongside Nikki Jeffrey, I did have the pleasure of covering an archery tournament that was going on in Mississauga, and I got to show off my Hawkeye skills from the Avengers, right? So I figured, why not just throw another story and talk about some more archery, and just so the people at Mississauga and Brampton know how the sport is played, and if they're not familiar with it, then they'll get the gist of it with this video clip that we're about to show right here.
The gym floors of the Ontario Centre of Classical Sport were flooded with hundreds of student archers ready to release their bows and arrows in one of the toughest competitions in the region. Historically, archery began in 20,000 BC, and the main purpose of the sport was for combat and hunting. Today, it is known as the most upcoming competitive sport and recreational activity. The competition is broken down into 4 divisions. Boys and girls standard, where the bow is a simple instrument which beginners usually start with. Next is the more complex and dominant form of a bow, the compound bow. The compound bow is a modern bow that uses a levering system, usually of cables and pulleys.
Standard, it's just like a basic bow. Compound, I think there's a, what's it called?
It's heavier, and you have to get a lot more used to it in order to shoot with it.
So, what's the reason behind this great archery increase?
It's picking up in popularity because it's entering popular media, and it's big in other countries like Korea, where it's the national sport, in the United States, where they have special sponsorship programs for athletes, where they can develop them. But here in Canada, it's not as popular, but it's growing in popularity for sure.
Yes, it's fun, it's entertaining, and it just looks cool.
Movies, Hunger Games, and just like going back to the, like, not having to play a sport, like physically, but like mentally and with stamina.
I think the movies that have featured archery as a key sport have had a lot to do with that.
I think because it looks really cool, and with, like, you know, all the superheroes like Hawkeye and other heroes in the media that are doing archery, people want to try it out.
Yeah, most movies have been portraying characters with this skill, and so I think that's why.
Popularity of the Hunger Games series is fueling an interest in the sport of archery. Following in the footsteps of Hunger Games heroine Katniss Everdeen, who is extremely talented with a bow and arrow, is one of the main reasons most archers came through these doors. Unlike the violence shown in trending movies, archery is surprisingly a very safe sport if the rules are practiced seriously.
Compared to other sports, not so if it's done properly. If it's not done properly, then obviously there are extreme safety hazards. You can supposedly die from actually getting shot, but
I think it can be run in a very safe way with the proper instruction, the proper attention to safety.
If lanes are run safely and everything's running smoothly, in 5 years we've had no incidents.
Straying away from the makeup and CGI, archery is more than just the look. Not only does this competitive sport empower the archers physically, but also exercises the competitor's mentality.
Archery is not very well represented in Ontario. It's certainly growing. Tournaments like this show that there's a very big increase. So it gives young athletes an opportunity to become involved in it at school at a fairly inexpensive way to do it. And hopefully it fosters their interest in the sport.
Well, archery teaches 2 things in excess. It teaches discipline and it teaches focus, and it teaches a lot about concentrating on what you're doing in the moment, and I think that's really important for students to learn as they develop. You're allowed to do hunting, but you're not allowed to do archery outside unless you have a permit specifically for the property that you're doing it on. And that's why it's so important to have centers like this, because we're able to have a bunch of youth come in here and shoot and experience the sport, because it's not actually legal to do on your own.
Although bows and arrows have been around for thousands of years, archery has increased by a whopping 48% in the 21st century. Many Canadian athletes like Crispin Dunaz and Joycery Stephanie Picard are the key role models for young aspiring archers in the Peel region. You can check out these amazing athletes in the 2015 Pan Am Games. In Mississauga, Crystal Tequila, Rogers Sports.
Thanks for that story, Crystal Tequila. Now, this past year, Daniel, I know that Haley Maskell won the female individual championships for archery. She's from Humberview Secondary School. And in the male, Lawrence Mack from Rick Hansen. What I want to know is, do either of them play archery tag in their spare time to practice?
It's a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised because how else are you going to practice other than archery tag? And everyone loves a good match of archery tag, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of their pastime, but I'm sure they have a bit more rigorous training than just, beyond the normal tag and what have you.
I'll take you on. I know there's an archery tag right across the street down here on Wolfdale Roads.
Well, you know what? Let me suit up and we'll see if we can make it happen.
Let's check out social media. I know there's a couple great tweets there about archery, and I'd like to check them out now. So we have somebody named Loic Ray here. He says, if I was given the chance to win table tennis, ropsaa, gold, or $1 million, I would ask, who are we playing every time? That's a pretty funny tweet there about table tennis.
Well, they want to make sure it's a safe bet, right? Absolutely. Now, let's kind of cross things over to, looks like cross-country skiing we have over here. So, phys ed Turner Fenton says, ropsaa Novice Day race start, what a day at Peel schools. So they're obviously excited for the weather because of the fact that they now get to play the sport that they love. So why not, right?
Finally got the snow in there.
Exactly.
ropsaa Novice Day relay. Great learning, great fun. Another tweet from Turner Fenton. Looks like those girls are having a blast.
Most
Thanks
definitely.
for tagging us there.
Absolutely. And what else do we have here? We have Mark W., who is saying ropsaa Junior Tier 1 South having 4 strong. They should be in playoffs with DY, Campion, Augusta, and North. Who will snag the last spot? Don't we always just love an interesting playoff race near the end of the season? You're always wondering who's jockeying for position, who's going to play spoiler, how many points you're going to be up and down. It's always a great thing to see. So I'm definitely going to be excited as that gentleman was for that as well. You
know what I'd like to see, especially in the Peel region? Raptors 905.
That's right. Who wouldn't?
That'll be coming up in the next segment. Before we get into that, though, I want to bring up the topic of basketball in the Peel region.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you know about it? I know you used to cover Peel sports.
Absolutely. I mean, Peel region basketball, there's a history to it. I mean, for me, I went to a school called Loyola Catholic Secondary School way back in the early 2000s, and we had some of the most talented athletes to come out of school. We had my man Michael Hall, Jamar Bailey, a good friend of mine, Ryan Wright, who's actually playing in Europe right now for Team Falco in Hungary. So there's a history of basketball within the Peel region, especially within Mississauga. And now that you have Raptors 905, I think that's just going to influence it that much more. And on top of that, you may have some people who will participate in the open tryouts who are from the Peel region. Totally. It's just going to benefit them that much more. It's going to influence the Canadian game that much more because of the fact that we do have a developmental system within Mississauga.
I think it's great, too, especially, for things to do in the city. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a story, actually, on Raptors 905 after this quick break. Stay tuned. See you in a minute. Welcome back. You're watching ropsaa Sports. Laura Lehman and Daniel Mante with you. Thanks for tuning in. So before the break, we talked a little bit about Raptors 905, and we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper. Bruno Caboclo, we're going to have a feature on him in just a moment. But first, let's talk about Raptors 905 and what it does for the city Yeah, your thoughts, Daniel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like what we were alluding to before the commercial break, basically it's a farm system for the Toronto Raptors, and it works out for them perfectly because they're only one of 18 teams in the NBA who actually has their own licensed D-League team. Therefore, we can send back and forth our players to kind of redevelop their skills and what have you, rather than just have them kind of toil on the bench, basically. So I think it's perfect in the sense that we can have Bruno Caboclo or Norman Powell, DeLon Wright kind of develop their skills over time so that when we do need them for this season or even the next, they're going to be a lot more fresher. It kind of reminds me of when Corey Joseph, who now plays for the Raptors, he was playing for the Spurs before. He had a bit of trouble kind of getting playing time when he was playing along the likes of Gary Neal, Tony Parker, and those guys. So he actually volunteered to go to the D-League so that he could still stay fresh for his team, and it paid off because now he's got a ring, right? He brought it back to the six. So we hope for the same thing, for our guys when it comes to Raptors 905 because, again, it helps the players develop their skills. It's somewhat of a profile builder, if you will. So
Totally.
I think Raptors are one of the very few teams who have these types of luxuries and should take full advantage of that, to say the least.
And it gives, student athletes who play basketball in the ropsaa realm as well something to aspire to. Knowing that you have a D-League team in your city, it gives them something to kind of, like I said, aspire to. They can go out for a tryout at some point, and then you never know, might make it to the Raptors one day. It's a good stepping stone for the Raptors and for people who are aspiring to be a professional basketball player one day.
Exactly, and it helps you build your IQ as a basketball player as well. It's not just about the crossovers or the deep threes or the dunks. At the end of the day, it's all about developing the IQ of learning how to play the game, basically, so that you can play in a more organized fashion, therefore making your chances of joining the NBA or any other professional basketball league, for that matter, a lot higher.
Very good point. Now, we did show this feature on ropsaa Sports a couple weeks ago before the holidays, and in it, Bruno Caboclo told Kelsey Wright that he wanted snow this year that he's in Toronto, and I think that's pretty hilarious that we did get it. Few months late, but we did get it. Bruno Caboclo, the small forward from Brazil, was the 20th overall draft pick for the Raptors back in 2014, and now he's playing for Raptors 905. Kelsey Wright has a one-on-one interview with him. Let's check it out.
Guys, I am here at the bottom of the Hershey Center, right outside of the Raptors 905 change room. I'm here with Raptors 905 / kind of Raptors, Bruno Caboclo. He was born in Brazil, and now he's been kind of up and down in the D-League and the NBA for a few years. He was the 2014 Raptors first overall pick, and now he's here with us in Mississauga. Bruno, how has it been being in Canada?
Oh, it's very good, amazing. I love the fans, I love the city, and it's amazing to be part of the team.
What's your favorite thing about Canada so far?
The snow.
The snow?
Yeah.
We don't even have snow yet.
But I like the snow.
Did you get to build a snowman last year?
No, I didn't have time, but I will build it one day.
One day he will build that snowman, just like the Frozen movie.
Yes.
Now, you played in Brazil. You didn't start until you were 13, so you've only been playing basketball for 7 years.
Yeah.
How have you gotten so good?
A lot of work, and a little bit experience with the professional team too.
You played professional in Brazil.
Yeah, just 6 months.
What's the difference between professional in Brazil and then professional here?
I think here's more. You have more pressure, but I think it's the same professionalism.
Yeah, that's good. Now you're 6'9", your height. His wingspan is 7'7". Is that right?
Yes.
He's got long arms. So we're going to take a look now. We're going to take a look at your wingspan. I'm going to step back. Spread those wings. Now, just to think about this, I'm 5'9", so I'm not like a little girl. My wingspan's about 5'9". Check out how big this actually is. Unbelievable, right? Yes. Okay, now we're gonna get to know Bruno a little bit better. We're gonna play a game with you, okay? I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, okay, about your teammates. Who is the best dancer on your team?
Best dancer, Melly Melvin. Melly Melvin is the best dancer in the team, for sure.
Okay, what about the best singer?
Best singer, Melly. Melly Melvin is best singer.
He's the best all-around music kind of guy. Yeah. Okay, let's do the funniest guy on your team.
The funniest guy, Melvin.
This is the only teammate you have?
No, but he's the funniest. He do everything.
Okay, let's change it up a bit then. Hopefully it's not the same person. Melly Mel. The best dressed.
The best dressed. Dylan Wright.
DeLon Wright?
Yeah.
Why?
He got the swag.
Perfect, DeLon Wright. Okay, let's do one more. Who has the best hairstyle on the team?
Hairstyle. Jay Harris.
What's his hair?
It's a black power.
Perfect. And now my very last question. You got Bebe up in the Raptors right now. What's it like having him here with you?
With me?
Yeah.
I don't have him with me. He got married now, so he let me away.
Moved you to the side?
Yeah.
Because he has the best hair.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The weekend hair.
I said there was a picture and it had the weekend and him, and they called him the long weekend.
Yeah. The long ear. The long everything.
Everything. He's just wild. All right, stay with me here. It's back to you guys in the studio. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelsey, for that wonderful interview. Now, not too many people who aren't familiar with basketball don't know that a lot of people kind of compared Bruno Caboclo to Kevin Durant coming out of the draft, just because they both have a similar build, about 6'9", 6'10" frame, good ball handling, and a wide wingspan, as we just saw, from that little
7'7" wingspan.
Right,
Yeah.
little Titanic moment happening with Kelsey, but definitely he does have the potential to be a good scorer, especially in this day and age with the rules of basketball changing. A lot of people are looking to play that small ball style, where it's more based on the pace of space offense, where you have your big man kind of shooting from beyond 15 to 16 feet, and he kind of fits the bill. He's more of that prototype, so to speak. So guys like him, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis are just a few names that kind of fit that bill. So hopefully, with the proper grooming and training that he'll get from Raptors 905 into the main roster, we should see some of those skills come into play.
Totally. Thanks so much for that interview, Kelsey. We'll be right back with social media on Ropsaa Sports after this quick break.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Ropsaa Sports on Rogers TV. Now, one of the great things about Ropsaa Sports and any high school sports is the community support you get with your teachers, your parents, your family, your friends. And Rogers TV is one place to tune into that. So we want you to follow us at Ropsaa_sports and tweet in your stats, your standings, photos, videos, anything like that. And in this particular case, one of our athletes' moms tweeted in an awesome collage of a bunch of her different snapshots from different times she was interviewed by us and different articles from the newspaper. So thanks to Nikki Logan's mom for tweeting this in. I love this photo.
Absolutely.
Especially the one on the side with the newspaper clippings. Like, that's just great. That shows support right there.
Exactly. And on the side, you kind of notice her getting a one-on-one interview with one of our Rogers alumni, Samuel Ashton. So shouts to Samuel. Definitely, it's a very community-based system that we kind of have here. So people like to go on our Twitter feed and just kind of promote themselves and what have you. And we encourage you to do that. If you're a football player, basketball, rowing, archery, whatever the case may be, please showcase your talent, from a worldwide web perspective. And, just include the hashtag Ropsaa Sports, why not?
It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
So here are a few other other people that used that hashtag and reached out to us, and we featured them on our page in our social media segment. Coach Brownlee, Ropsaa champions, memories for a lifetime, great year, boys. And here is a photo gallery from the Brampton Guardian. He tweeted at us too. Moving on down here, we've got Dave Johnson's Juniors running back 2015 highlights. So cool, you can just simply put that on Twitter, we retweet it, other people retweet it, and next thing you know, it's all over the internet.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with putting out a little mixtape to showcase your skills. And let's get to this one real quick, actually, because we didn't give this one enough shine. Once again, shouts to our man Ricardo Barrett, whom we kind of profiled earlier in the show. Check out the picture that someone made for him. I mean, look at that. Like, if we can get a one close shot of that is screensaver material right there. Whoever the artist is, I hope they got paid big time.
Yeah.
All right.
And whoever the artist is, maybe reach out to us via Twitter at @Rops_sports, and maybe we'll get one of those photos.
Exactly. And real quick, we also got a profile from girls table tennis, a sport that doesn't really get a whole lot of shine. So let us give it some shine. So shouts to Woods Athletics girls table tennis team on their perfect season and 4th consecutive Ropsaa championship. I mean, you can't go wrong with rings, right? Rings define a whole lot of things.
Yep. And that school is now defined by awesome table tennis championship under their belt, which is so great. Well, thanks so much for tuning in today, and thank you, Daniel, for being on the show with me. It was such a pleasure.
Hey, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
We'll catch you next week.